Alrighty. Sorry, I think that was me. I think someone else just joined. Hi, Adrian, did you just join? Still on mute.
Oh, yes.
Hi, is this Adrian?
Yes, right.
Hi. Okay. We're gonna wait about another minute and then we're gonna go get started.
Started. We have everyone except for one person right now.
Correct. I think that is. I think Troy was going to join, but I think Troy's gone through this before, hasn't he?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
So I think we're waiting for Joseph Rodriguez and Jonathan Astorga.
All right.
Oh, looks like somebody joined. Hello, did somebody just join? Looks like somebody joined in on the landline.
Do I have to say who it was?
Yeah, pretty much.
All right, that's Troy.
Hey, Troy. Hey, are you joined in on the link session or are you on the landline?
I don't know. I'm jumping into the link session now, and I'm on my cell phone.
If you can join in through the link audio, because what we noticed is that when we have when we have somebody join in on the landline, on the phone line, it causes all this weird feedback. Haven't heard it yet, but
Well, here's the issue. I'll be glad to do that, but the problem is my computer's shut and underneath the stand. You won't be able to hear me.
I got you. All right. Well, we'll make do. We'll try to.
We'll just hope for the best. No worries.
And I'm on a cell line and not a landline. I don't know if that makes a difference or not.
Yeah. So if okay. Well, I mean, it sounds good so far. So I guess Nick, go ahead and get started.
All right. Sounds good. All right. My name's Nick Sparse, and I am one of the engineers that has been working with our AIT solution for about the past 5 years. And so we're just going to kind of go through a little bit of overview of the solution, and then we'll go into a demo of the different applications that we have, and then kind of talk about how to qualify the different issues and calls that you guys might be getting, and talk about where they need to go, and then we'll open it up for a question and answer. All right. And so so we as a group we do offer this one-stop shop where we have application development, our middleware, deployment services, and the tag analysis and equipment analysis and all of this kind of stuff. But really, what you guys will be most relevant to you are questions about the aerospace RFID tag and the readers and the software. And so that's what we'll kind of focus on here during this presentation. So here we have our actual RFID tags. And so we have 3 different sizes, and a small and a medium and a large. And then each of those form factors, those different sizes, come in a 8 kilobyte and a 1 kilobyte variety. And obviously that's talking about how much memory is on the tag. And so I'm not sure, do you guys have much experience with RFID? Do you guys kind of know in general what that is?
I'm familiar with it somewhat. It's kind of a tracking type of, provides tracking functionality by scanning and knowing what's supposed to be in a box. It identifies different things.
Yeah, exactly. So basically how this works is each of these tags have a chip in them, and that is where the data is going to be encoded. And so basically what happens is there's a chip and it's connected to an antenna that is built into this tag. And so when you have your RFID reader, it's shooting the RF waves at that antenna. And basically it goes through a process that's called backscatter. So basically what's happening is it's shooting the waves at it, and then they're reflected back. And that reflected back wave patterns are picked up by the reader, and then that is translated into binary information and then processed by the reader application to display the information that has been encoded to the chip. So that's kind of how that works. And so we have a specialized, implementation of this with this 8 kilobyte tag. That's what they call high memory. It's pretty unique. It's a unique component to our product, and we've been selected by Boeing and Airbus as one of 2 approved suppliers for this product. And you can see in the middle here we have this ATA Spec 2000. That is a specification that everybody that's in the airline industry, Boeing and Airbus, and a number of select OEMs, and people from our company, from Fujitsu, we've all been a part of building this over the last 10 years and coming up with a unified set of rules and guidelines basically for how this is supposed to work for the airline industry. And so that's what our software is built around, is encoding these tags and producing them so that they meet this spec. And people can go ahead and just use that and use our software to guide that. So we'll go ahead and move forward here. So like we just talked about, this ATA spec, this defines all of the structure of how the tag is going to work, and where the different memory segments, where certain information is going to be encoded. So all of that is contained within the ATA spec. And it's from a level 1 perspective, it's really just, we want you to know what this is and kind of what this is about. But you're not going to have to memorize and know this when you're interfacing with the customers. But the other component of the tag, so we already talked about the chip where we have our tag memory, and then we have obviously this human readable label is what we call it. That's just referring to this printed information, and then we also have the ability to store barcode data that is printed on the label. So those are kind of the 3 components of information that we work with when we're talking about our solution and this technology. So to move on here. So this is our product portfolio. So there's the 3 different kind of components where we have our software, and up here in the upper left-hand corner, this is our commissioning. What we call that means commissioning is the name for the process of taking the data that we want to encode to the tag and then sending it to the printer and encoding and printing that information. That's what we call the commissioning process. So we have a piece of software that is designed to do that, and it works with the Zebra ZXP Series 7 printer. That's a proprietary printer that we Fujitsu and Zebra have designed, and it's only available through us. And then we have the data access applications that are designed to go ahead and scan, like we talked about, they scan and interpret that information that's been encoded on the chip. And so we have 2 different ways, 2 different versions of that. One runs on a PC, and it's connected to what we call a fixed reader, and we'll get into that when we cover the hardware. And the other is the mobile handheld RFID reader, and that one is designed to be able to be mobile, obviously, and walk around and scan the different tags that you have in the environment and read that information, update the information, and allow you to interface with those tags. So then we move on to the hardware. We already talked about the printer, and then we have this handheld, and then this is the fixed reader, and that's kind of just what they look like here. And then the last part is the sensors, which is just referring to the tag. And so right now, all you're going to need to worry about is these 3 Fujitsu RFID integrated label tags. These other ones that are listed are they're things that we have available, but they're not a part of our main solution that you guys will be getting calls about. And so those tags, again, just store the data and work with the other components to enable us to read and access the information that's been encoded there. And so this is just a little bit more information about the tags, kind of the dimensions, so this is again just something to be aware of. That we have these 3 different sizes and 2 different memory formats. So let's move on here. Again, this is our printer. So the other thing to know about that is there's 2 different configuration options on the printer. There is the ability to feed a tag in manually, one at a time, and then you also have the ability to make it, convert it into an automated process where they load into up here. There is this feeder, this auto feed, so you can load the tags into there and then just automatically print them. So those are the 2 different configurations that you might encounter, and so that's a good thing to note. When you might receive a call about the printer, which method that they're using. So I'll move on here. So this is so within the software, we have the ability to customize the templates, and so that the different companies can make the label look how they want. Put their logo on there, decide what kind of information they want to have printed on the physical label, decide the type of information they want to encode in their barcode, and also deciding what they want to encode in their chip. And so it's a fully customizable solution. It's able to link up with all the major ERP systems that are out there. From a simple implementation, just connecting to an Excel data source, to a SQL-based thing and also like your Oracle and SAP. It can go it's very scalable. As far as the different data sources that it's able to connect to. And then another thing to note, we'll kind of talk about this later about qualifying these different calls. Anything that has to do with customization, that's going to fall to Len's group, and which I'm a part of. And then, you'll also get, some other calls that are more implementation oriented, and we'll qualify those as post sales, and they'll go to another group. But again, we'll touch on that later on in this presentation and clarify kind of where things need to go. So that's it for the presentation here. And so I wanted, do you guys have any questions about any of that stuff before we move into the demos? All right. Okay, so yeah, let's go ahead and what I'm going to do is just pull up this PC that we have that has our software installed. And so first we'll kind of go through the commissioning application. That's kind of a logical place to start. This is, again, the commissioning application is what's responsible for taking the data and then sending it to the printer and encoding the chip and printing that label. And so this is what we call our Label Design and Encoding Management Pro software, and we will refer to that as LDEMP. And so that's always going to be associated with your commissioning. And so within this application, we have a number of different methods for actually accepting data and sending it to the printer. We have a manual method that utilizes some pre-built templates to kind of store the common information and then allow you to enter in data manually and send that to the printer. We have this batch commissioning tool, which is what we talked about when when we said that the tool connects to the database. So this tool just connects via an ODBC connection to your database, and you can basically predefine all of the different values that you want to go into the tag and just have it automatically pull those values and send them to the printer. We also have a method of commissioning where if you're working with an existing barcode system, this basically will allow you to take that barcode data, and when you scan it, it will connect to your inventory database, and you can map everything so it pulls all the data that corresponds to the barcode that you scanned and sends it to the printer and commissions the tag. And then we have this last one here is commissioning from integrated sources. That is a tool that basically allows you to kind of pick and choose where you want to get your data from. You can connect to a database and have certain fields defined there, and then also you can say I want to scan a barcode to get the serial number, and then I'm going to type in like some other information that I want to go on the tag manually. So that basically combines all of the other options that we have and allows you to kind of pick and choose where you want that data to come from. So that's the overview of the label design, the RFID integrated label design and encoding management function or software. And so we'll do a quick just a quick demo of two of the different options that we covered, so you guys can kind of see how it looks. So first we'll go through this manual tool. And so this is kind of the most basic form of the tool, but it's good to kind of show what goes into creating these tags. So again, like we had talked about, you can see this 1 kilobyte and 8 kilobyte. Those are the two different tag memory sizes that we have, and they are going to correspond with a qualification that's within the ATA spec is a dual record tag and a multi-record tag. And we'll get into those differences later on here. But basically, those are two different types of memory structures and that are defined within the ATA spec, and they correspond to the 1 kilobyte and the 8 kilobyte. And again, this is probably more information than you're going to need to know when you're taking these calls. But I just want to give you a background so you can kind of know what we're talking about here when you do take those calls from those customers. So this is all defined in an XML template. So we'll just go through and select this dual record tag. The next component that goes into it is selecting a filter value. And so essentially what this does is it just shouts out the category that this tag is. So you can see we have a seat cushions, we have seat covers, seat belts, life vests, oxygen generators, things like that. These are all very common components on an airplane that are going to be RFID tags. And so what it does is it allows you to go through, and if you're only looking for oxygen generators, it gives you the ability to do that, and it's only going to respond to components that have the oxygen generator filter value. So that's what that is. And so just select that here. And then the next thing is these are the data templates that can contain the stored values essentially. And so what this does here is you can see these are an MFR that corresponds to a company's cage code. So that's going to have these different values here that are just automatically going to be populated. And then you can go through and enter in your dynamic data, and then go ahead and click update, click next, and then it's going to give you a summary here, and then you'll click OK, and then it pops up this menu where this is where we choose those actual labels that we've designed, and then we're going to choose the one that corresponds to the type that we just created. So we had you have your 1K. So that was a dual record. We were using the 1K template. We would select that one, and then you'd pick the one also that corresponds to the size of the tag that you're interested in commissioning. So we have a medium, a large, and a small. So that's basically how the commissioning process works. Do you guys have any questions about that before we move on to the next tool? All right. So the next part, so now that we've kind of covered what goes into, actually building these tags and printing them, the next two functions, or the next two applications that we're going to talk about are how to actually read that data from the tags that we've printed and interface with that. And so we'll start here with the RFID Data Management Pro that is running on the PC. And this, like we talked about earlier, is going to connect to what we call a fixed reader. And, as that name kind of implies, it's just a stationary reader. You usually set it up, in a fixed location, and, just you put the tagged item near the antenna, and then you're able to read it. And so there's 3 different functions here that we cover. There is a data validation function, and that function, what that allows you to do is take the data that you've sent to the printer that you want to encode to the tag. You take that, and then you read the data that has been encoded to the tag, and what it does is it just compares those to make sure that the data that was submitted matches the data that has actually been encoded. And that's, like we said, it's just a validation process to make sure that these OEMs, when they are printing these tags, that the tag actually contains what they expect it to contain, and gives them, that validation that it's ready to go on the part and be shipped out to its next destination. Then the main function of this tool is this data access, and this is what we'll do a demo for. This is the heart of reading the tag, and then updating it and interfacing with it. And then, so we'll touch back on that in a second here. But the last application to mention is this data encoder. And so this essentially allows you to encode the chip the same way that you would with the printer, except for you're using a fixed reader, so you're not going to be able to print your label on there, but you can encode the data to the chip on the tag. And, it'll look the same exact as when you scan it as it did if you commissioned it with the printer. But it's just another option that you have. If you're not around a printer, you can encode a tag using this data access, or this data encoder function. And so let's circle back here to our data access. We'll load this up, and it connects to what we call the Motorola FX7500. That's the fixed reader that we recommend. And so just about any call that you're going to get about this application, they're going to be using that hardware, that Motorola FX7500. And so I have this connected, and then I have a tag. And so basically I'm just going to click Find Tags here. And you can see, all right, it detected a tag, and you can see all this hexadecimal data. And so just to circle back to what we talked about with the backscatter, so this is exactly what's happening, is the antenna is shooting out the signal, and it's being reflected back from the antenna on the tag, and that is interpreted as the binary information, and this hexadecimal data is that representation of that binary data. And then, it's not decoded here, but down here under the tag information, you can see the decoded data displayed. And then, so this is what we call our EPC data. That's an electronic product code. And so that's kind of the identifier. It's the unique identifier for the tag. And so that's the information that creates that unique identity. And then we'll read the user memory segment, which is just another memory component, and that's going to contain some of the other data elements that an OEM is going to be interested in. That's where the life cycle record resides. That's where the dynamic data that you can update. And so you can see here we have an expiration date and a condition code. These are data elements that are going to be able to change and be modified over time. Where we also have this birth record that is going to contain data that's locked in and not able to be changed. And so that's kind of the 2 different memory segments that you're going to find on this dual record tag that we produced. So that's basically the gist of this. I guess I'll show you. You can go ahead and click replace. And so this is kind of how you would change that. So let's say just to give you a quick demo of how it works. So we have an expiration date of 2017, August 9th. So let's go ahead and just show you how you could change that. Let's say we need to change it now to December 20th. So it's just as simple as typing that in there, and clicking write tag. You can see the writing completed successfully. You click OK, and now you can see the updated value. So that's how that piece of software works. Do you guys have any questions on that before we move on to the next part? All right, great. All right, so yeah, the two applications that we've talked about so far were both meant to run on the PC. The next one that we're going to cover here is the mobile device, and I have we use the tool called the MC9190. That is another component that's manufactured by Zebra, and that's the handheld, and it's the one that we talked about where you can go around and carry it around the shop floor and scan the different tags that have been installed on these different parts. And so, again, all of these should look very familiar. It's the same exact set of functionality as you have with the PC-based application, but it allows you to do it on mobile. And this is the screen that will be displayed on that mobile device. And so, again, we have a way to validate the data, and then we have a way to commission and encode the data to the chip. And that comes in handy, you know, if you find that a tag is defective and you're out in the field and you can't access the printer, you know, it's nice to be able to have that functionality here with the handheld. And then, again, we have our data access. And so we can kind of just go through and show that again. This is kind of the exact same thing. This one picked up a few different tags. But again, we have our binary information, and then we have our decoded information here. And then it'll be the same thing where, but this is actually the multi-record tag. So this has a few different other data element or memory segments, but it's all the same type of idea where you can just read and write data to this tag using this application. Do you guys have any other questions about that? That kind of wraps up the handheld portion. All right. So now that you guys have a little bit of background here on the application, we can talk about some of the issues that you'll encounter and kind of how to qualify those issues and where to go, where to send those to. And so we had Ray has been working on compiling this document of where things need to go. And so basically what I've done is taken that document and just summarize that here. And so the first kind of distinction that you'll make, and so, you're going to be the front line of getting all these different calls. And so, the easiest distinction will be like, okay, is this a call about ordering something, or is this a call, because something isn't working? And so first let's talk about ordering stuff. So a common thing is that, we have these tags and we have these printers, and so customers, they'll run out of tags, they'll run out of the ink ribbon, maybe a component, it's getting worn and they need to replace that. So all that kind of stuff, our sales guy, Ben Portman, he will be your contact for that. So if you get a customer that's saying, hey, I need to order some tags, you'll go ahead and forward it on to him. And then I believe we have Elaine on the call here with us today. She is going to be handling any questions that come in about actually making a sale of any of this equipment. So if you get somebody that's saying, hey, I'm interested in purchasing, a printer and a software solution, you would forward that on to her, and she can take care of that and get that to the next appropriate people. The last participant in the order category is Bob Turnquist, and so he is going to handle any type of issue that comes up with an existing order. So if somebody calls in and they say, hey, I just want to check on this order status, I placed this order and I'm wanting to know when I'm going to receive it, or anything that along those lines, that would go to him. And so, that's the first distinction, like I said. The next one is going to be, if they are saying, okay, we're having a problem with this hardware, we're having a problem with this software, is going to be an operational type of scenario, then that's either going to go to Russ and Richard or to Len. And so those are the two groups that are going to handle those type of activities. So Russ and Richard are going to be handling anything that's related to a post-sale type of scenario. So basically something that was purchased from Fujitsu and doesn't work anymore. That could be a software. That could be, hey, we're having an issue now that's popped up with our software. Or it could be a hardware thing where, oh, this component broke and we need to figure out how to, get that replaced so we can get back up to speed. That would go to Russ and Richard. Any type of issue concerning bad tags, that's something that we're going to also have go to Russ and Richard because they are going to want to qualify that and kind of do some testing to figure out what's going on with that. So that would be, for example, the customer, calls in and they said, we ordered this batch of, 1,000 tags and, like 20% of them are failing. If you get something like that, you would want to forward that on to Russ and Richard, and they have the expertise to go in and say, okay, well, are these tags truly defective, or is this an issue of not using it right? And so they can kind of get that person who calls in, clarification, and they'll take care of, pointing them in the right direction to resolve their issue. The next thing would be a printer hardware issue. That's something that, again, like we already kind of talked about that. If something breaks, if somebody says that, a hardware component isn't working, that'll go to Russ and Richard, and they'll take care of the RMA process with the manufacturer. If a reader needs to be replaced, RMA, the same type of thing, that goes to Russ and Richard. And then the last thing is if somebody does call in about a software update or a firmware update, that will also go to them. They'll help, guide them through the process of how to access the updated software and get the installation process started for that. So on the other side of that, we have Len, and that's the part of the group that I am a part of, and same thing with Richard Navidad on the phone here with us. So we're going to be responsible for fielding things that have to do with pre-sales. And so, an example of that is if they had a question about how to design their label, and, if they say, hey, like we have the software, we're working with it, but, we need to go ahead and create some customized labels. We need to create some, add some different part numbers, things like that. That's a service that we will provide, and that will go to our group. If they're having an issue with their initial installation, that also will qualify as a pre-sales thing. So that would be they just got the system and they are trying to learn how to use it. That would be something that would go to us. Whereas if they had already been using the system and something broke, that's where it goes to Russ and Richard. So that's kind of the distinction of how we want to organize those calls and facilitate and separate out that work. And so again, the other component that we'll be taking care of is if they do want to purchase installation services, where they're saying we don't want to really do this ourselves. We need some guidance, we need some help, and they know that ahead of time. That's something that will go to us, and we can facilitate getting them their purchase order on getting those services and get the work taken care of for them. So do you guys have any questions about that, about kind of how to qualify those things and what we were just talking about? All right. That's good. So I'll share this with everybody once we get this all kind of defined and everything, so you guys can use this kind of as a cheat sheet, and and as this process is getting established, to reference and know where to go. The other part that we have here is our kind of set of qualifying questions. So if you're trying to make the distinction of, okay, is this going to go to Russ or Richard, or is this going to go to Len? You're trying to get the, that information. These are just some good questions that you can ask, like, is this issue with an existing system, or are you setting this up for the first time? So, okay, if they say this is an existing system that goes to Russ and Richard, if it's an initial setup, that'll go to our group. Again, if it is an existing system, another question to ask is, okay, is this a system that you purchased, or are you working with a demo kit? And so a demo kit is something that is involved in our pre-sales process. The demo kit basically is just a self-contained kit with all of the hardware and software. And so if it is about a demo kit, that will go to us. If it is about an existing system they purchased, that will go to Russ and Richard. And then specifically with this LDEMP, Label Design and Encoding Management Pro software and the commissioning process, if this is another thing where we talked about the tag customization. So this is if you ask them like, okay, well, are you able to commission these tags using the default templates, or are you talking about a customized template? That's another distinction, because if it's not working with the default templates, that indicates that this is going to be probably a configuration problem, probably an issue with the driver or something like that. And again, that would go to Russ and Richard. But, if they are saying, yes, we can commission with the default template, but we have this other template that we built and it's not working, that's a distinction where that's an indicator that that's going to go to our team. So that's going to fall under that customization service. And, that's something that we'll want to build a customer for, for helping them create those templates. So that covers the whole qualification process. And so that's kind of the way that you can use these guidelines to figure out where things need to go. So nobody has any questions about that? That's all pretty clear? All right, great. So the last part that we're going to cover here is, so once you have qualified the issues as a post-sale issue, we have built these escalation templates, and so we have one for each of the different solutions that we have. So this should look familiar. We have your LDEMP, your Label Design and Encoding Management Pro. That's the printer software. You have your RFID Data Management Pro for handhelds, and then that's the mobile one. And then we have our RFID Data Management Pro for the PC, which is using the fixed reader. And so these all look pretty similar, but they differ in the fact that we laid out the information that's going to be required for level 2 to go ahead and process this. And so this is all standard, obviously your date, your company, your contact name, the contact info, your issue description, and then we have the version information defined that's going to help out these level 2 guys to figure out, kind of what needs to be done and, correlate these issues with certain releases and versions of the software. And so, this has your LDEMP version, your bartender version, and your firmware version, your driver version, and things like that. And then it also just has a note here. We have these version acquisition documents that cover the process to go through and find this information, all of this information here. So in the case of the Label Design and Encoding Management Pro software, you just open up this document that correlates to the LDEMP, and if you just follow this and you go through in the customer's environment, it will guide you through collecting all of that information, and so it makes it nice and easy to just go through and get that stuff so that the level 2 guys can easily go through and identify and resolve those issues. And so, again, we built one template for each of the different software types, and they look really similar, but the only thing that's different is the information that needs to be collected, and again, that corresponds to the document that was designed for that tool. So, so those, again, I don't know if that's going to be something that you guys want to just build within your existing, CRM software, or if that's something that you guys want to actually use these templates. I just wanted to get you the data components that we want to have collected. So it'll be kind of up to you guys to decide how you want to implement that. So really, that's about it for what we have today. Do you guys have any questions about the templates or that process that you want to address?
Hi, I have a question, and it's about the tool where we will be processing the service requests. Would it be, I mean, through CRM as a regular case, or our other cases or customers, or it would be specific to this product? Because I would like to know if there's any like knowledge base that we could, use as a research for this.
Yeah, so we do have a knowledge base put together, and that is posted on our share, which I believe you guys can have access to. And then as far as, the CRM, what my understanding of the current process now is that for the post-sales stuff, once you've qualified it as a post-sales, issue, that goes to Russ or Richard. They already, I believe you guys already, escalate things with their other product that they support to
Right.
them, and so you would just use that same process for that.
Yeah, I think it'll be Primus, but Terry's not on the call right now, but I believe they're planning on using Primus to do that.
Yeah, I believe that's the case. And then for the other ones, it will be a little bit more, and this could change, but right now I believe it's a little bit more of an ad hoc process, where if you get a call like that, you just refer to a contact sheet that we'll provide to you, and that'll have all of the, I'll close out the document, but we'll make sure that you have the contact information for Ben, for Elaine, for Lynn, and then for Bob Turnquist as well. And so basically, you'd probably just shoot us an email, saying, hey, I have a customer that is calling in about this, and then they need X, Y, Z, and we can kind of take it from there. So really, when you have a post-sales thing, that's going to be kind of using your established process, and the other qualifications for the other issues will kind of be more of an ad hoc thing, like I said. And so I know people are trying to drive and to find a more well-structured process for that, but right now that's how it's going to work. And so we'll obviously update you if something needs to change, but right now that's kind of the way to handle that.
Got it. Thank you.
Absolutely. Any other questions? All right. Any other general questions? Just anything popped into your guys' head as about anything else that we've covered previously? All right. So that wraps it up for us, guys. That's all we have. So just wanted to say thanks again for you guys taking this on and helping us out with this, and we really appreciate this. It's going to help us out. So yeah, and then if anything does come up later, you have a question about the process, or trying to, you get a call and you're not sure what to do, feel free to reach out. You can reach out to me, and we can make sure that you get your questions answered. Sure.
Thank you.
Absolutely. All right, guys. Well, you all have a great rest of your day, and yeah, we'll talk to you guys once you start taking calls.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.